Hey Tubes, Jother's wrong here. Truth and budget. So just something real quick. One of the things I research on the side is the mud flood theory, which is pretty interesting, but I have a few issues with it. Right off the bat, I think all of the mud flood is just deluge. You know, the Great Flood of the Bible. I think all these buildings that were buried by mud were most likely buried then during the Great Deluge, because you'll find them all on the East Coast. Well, not all, but mostly. Which, like I've said before, during the deluge, that's where the water went. It's, if you look at the East Coast, how it's shaped, the consistency of the dirt, it's water runoff. So I think all those old buildings, all the the power station at I'm spacing out right now. Up between Canada and America, the big falls there, Niagara Falls, all that stuff. I think it was already here. I think during the 1800s, they discovered a bunch of ancient tech, and they sort of like retro. Why am I spacing out right now? All this was clear as heck in the shower. There's probably because there's a cat walking around meowing. But anyway, not he. They reverse engineered stuff they found. Tesla was one of the guys who was in charge of all that, which is why he came up with all this super tech, and then they just kicked him to the side. He was basically just there to reverse engineer the stuff, and then they got rid of him once they were done with him. But when you look into, they supposedly build these amazing structures during the 1800s in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and then destroy them 10 years later because they're obsolete. No, none of that's real. You wouldn't spend that much time and money in a growing country to build these things and then immediately destroy them. It's not cost effective. That was just the story, and when you think about it, it's like, oh, well, wouldn't they want to keep all these marvels of ancient technology? No, because they would have to explain it, and we would benefit from it. So what's the point of that? They don't want us to benefit from anything. So that's why they tore down all these buildings. That's why it was all destroyed. And as far as there being exactly 1,000 years, I don't think that's true. I think it's probably they closer to maybe 400 or 500 years they tacked on. Do I know? No, but I do know that the whole theory that the I or the J at the beginning of the dates is a non-point, because we have dates like 1066. We wouldn't have there if the date was just 66. There would not be a 0 and then a J or an I in front of it. And we have all sorts of important things happened in 1044, 1066. A whole bunch of stuff happened within the Eastern Roman Empire and England. I'm sorry, I have a... So those dates are important, and they're marked, and they have a 0. So there just wouldn't be... This whole theory that they just tacked on 1,000 years, I think, is not fully thought out. And like I said, the mud flood stuff, just deluge, ancient tech, yeah, from the days of Noah. There's nothing new under the sun. Now, here's the most dangerous part about the mud flood theory and the fudging of history. And this is the major part, which led to me thinking that I should make a video about it. One of the theories is that all of Roman history is not real; is made up. There was no Roman, there's no Romans. There's none of it. Yada yada yada. Why is that dangerous? Well, who killed Jesus? The Romans. Without the Romans, everything that happened with Jesus becomes a story too. You see what I'm saying? You see how they sneak that stuff in like that? That's what the dangers of these parallel truth movements. A lot of what they're saying makes sense, and they're covering stuff that is real. They're covering ancient structures, they're covering giants, You know, they're covering lost technology, they're covering lost history, but they're disregarding the Bible, and they're not doing it with the biblical mindset. And in some places, you know, they're just completely removing it, which doesn't make sense. How can you acknowledge that the earth was created, but there's no creator? You know, that just doesn't add up. But that right there, I think, is the major. You know, when they start saying that there's no Rome. Well, if there's no Rome, then who crucified Jesus? You know, the Greeks. That doesn't it just doesn't add up. And as far as the I or the J being, you know, not being a one, I think that was just a stylistic choice, as you see a lot of stylistic choices in manuscripts, you know, especially illuminated manuscripts. They take a lot of liberties with the letters, and they make it artistic because it's just words otherwise. So they're just making it more fun to read. It's a stylistic choice. Because there's too many important dates that have a zero. So why would you have a fake, you know, it's just, oh, that the J stands for Jesus. Well, then why is there a zero there? You know, doesn't make sense. Because, like I said, the beginning of the second millennia was a lot of stuff happened between the Eastern Empire and England. You know, so there you go. But yeah, as far as you know, if you want to look into the mud flood stuff, do it. Just take everything they say with a grain of salt. Yes, those are ancient structures. Yes, they predate the flood, but it's not a great reset. You know, it's not a astronomical occurrence that happens, and we're trying to make, you know, sense of it. No, God told us He was going to do it, and He did it, and we see evidence of it. You know, so be careful of any of those truth people truth people that remove the Bible, because without a biblical understanding, you're just kind of lost. You're just you're just swinging at stuff. You know, without that base, because it's all there. It's all, you know, it all makes sense within that paradigm. Everything, who's in charge, why we suffer. You know, everything. It's all covered. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that real quick. But as far as all that stuff, very, very interesting. I suggest looking into it, because it's, like I said, disregard all the nonsense. But there are buildings that are 2-3 stories with windows and secondary doors that are under, you know 20, 30, 40 feet of dirt. Why? You don't build a building with sublevels with windows and then a door to dirt. It doesn't make sense. You don't do it. Nor do you waste all that time and money in a country that is just forming. America was not rich for a while. We were barely getting by for a long time. So this whole era of, oh, the great building, we built all these great things with what money? With, no way, not happening. But yeah, that's about it. Might as well keep it under 10 minutes. I don't have to get monetized anyway, right? That's about it. Questions, the comment sections. Feel free to ask anything. But yeah, star forts. Buildings under mud, completely real. I 100% believe in ancient technology. Obviously, there's nothing new under the sun, and I just think people like Nikola Tesla were in charge of reverse engineering all of it, which is why he was able to come up with so many inventions so quickly, and so many inventions of his were not given to the public. And once they were done with him, he just kicked him to the curb. He died in a institution or something. Wasn't he nuts? Didn't he die crazy and poor? Well, someone like Einstein, who didn't do a damn thing, is still celebrated. It's obvious why. But anyway, that's it. Love you guys. Have a beautiful day and God bless you.